welcome everybody to another webinar with the Year of Smart Towns. My name's William. Today we have Loqiva joining us. Loqiva is a platform for bids for councils to kind of like share information and stuff like that. I won't get into it too much. I'm joined here today by Marcus. Thank
Morning,
you,
everyone.
Marcus. So yeah, I think we'll just let you get into it, and then, as I said, if anybody has any questions as we go along, pop them in the chat, and then I'll ask them, and then we can kind of have a Q&A at the end. Brilliant.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for the opportunity to talk about our platform, Loqiva. I've got a few slides just to run through. Hopefully it won't be death by PowerPoint or anything like that, but I just think it's important to give you the frame of what we're doing, what we're looking to achieve with the platform, and then we can give you a bit of a demo afterwards. So I'll launch that now. 1 second. Hope everyone can see that.
Brilliant. Yeah.
As well. Fantastic. So a little bit about us, first of all. We are a company that's completely dedicated to placemaking and the digital technology that can support that. And we've spent a number of years developing this platform based upon research, based upon some historical work to develop what we call a digital town hub. So this uses cutting edge technology. So we're talking about a mixture of IoT, different feeds, microservices and so forth, and looking at how we can deploy that in a way that's practical and effective for place managers, councils and bids. We're doing that across multiple organisations, so we're learning as we go, we're constantly refining, and obviously a lot of this, yes, we can have the online tools, but we need the offline tools to promote the engagement and take up too of the platform. So a lot of work has gone into that. And we collaborate with clients, we work with them. A number of clients at the moment have specific needs that we are dealing with, but those are then dealt with, and then we bring those tools to the platform as we go. So it's very much about shared thinking, shared knowledge and collaboration. And we're a team of 12 based in London, in Croydon, in the UK. So a few quick things about us. Data is a big thing, obviously, across the piece with cities and towns, but we're all about bringing that data, make it community owned, but then working out how to best deploy it to tackle these issues. We were pleased to be nominated as one of the leading technology firms by Future Catapult and Innovate UK. We've been on trade missions with to China and Australia to showcase some of our technology and also to learn from other places around the world in terms of what they're doing. One of our most recent contracts is the South London Partnerships Innovate IoT competition, which is a deployment of town hubs in working with Croydon and working with Sutton, Merton, Kingston, Wandsworth, as part of a bigger collective, a kind of ecosystem of smart cities providers. So working with the likes of Vivacity and so forth, who I believe you've already interviewed on this channel already, to create a solution that can work across all parts of the smart city spectrum. And we're very much at the front end of that in terms of the citizen engagement. We'll come on to that later. We've got deployments in London, Birmingham, but we've also been out to the US and we're launching out there this year. So we've had deployments in New York and Louisiana to test the system and pilot it out in the US as well. And finally, we are fully accredited in terms of all the security testing, everything that you might expect and need as part of the local government requirements. So a bit about what we're doing, what we're addressing, the problem we're looking to tackle. And really, the thing for us is how can local digital infrastructure be used to help towns to thrive? And this is looking at a very broad problem, but it's also about having the data, having the information, and then being able to apply it in very specific ways to help certain sets of people. But the broader issues are, and I think everyone touches on this, certainly in every seminar and every conference I'm going to at the moment, is that COVID has fundamentally changed our behaviour. We were talking just a moment ago about working from home, and most of us are working from home. We all want to access our local town centre, want to access local facilities, events and so forth. but it's very hard to find some of that information, certainly in the way it's sorted. It's very hard to interact with your local area in terms of the town itself in a way that is meaningful to you. So we're looking to tackle that, and also to allow the town to communicate with us as a unit. One of the biggest things is that the towns and businesses are using obviously social media and social media platforms at the moment, but there are barriers to not owning that information. The fact that some of that communication is filtered, might be susceptible to advertising and so on. So we're very much about building the system for the community and the data being owned by the community, and removing those barriers. And then the other side is privacy and so on. And again, when we think about our town platform, we're thinking about local, we're thinking about governance as well, and how local people have that oversight of data in association with their council or bid, and ensure that it's used in a way that they're comfortable with. The other things that we're doing, and we'll come on to kind of the wider platform, is so there are digital screens going in from major providers at the moment. Some of the advertising and outdoor advertising providers are installing these, but right now, some of that, to be able to use that, despite that display being opposite your cafe or store, it's cost prohibitive. You're not able to get on those platforms and use them. So we're looking at that problem as well. Why channels within the public realm for businesses and public messaging to be able to engage residents and visitors. And then the bigger thing is that we've found, certainly from a practical level, is that many councils and bids or town managers do not have the information that's up to date to be able to engage with either citizens, and that could be residents or visitors, or businesses. So it might be that business information is siloed, in terms of a council, it might be a tax silo for business rates and so on. But often in terms of making that data active and make it useful for communication, it's not there and present. So this platform is designed to tackle that. And finally, we've got IoT sensors that are out in the environment. There's lots of great work, lots of councils are doing, from environmental sensors to footfall counters and so on. Again, they're great or being used mostly as reports, but again, what we can do with that data is to start to use it actively. How can we combine footfall information, for example, with the ability to target messaging for a certain public event or a certain shop? We'll come on to some of those solutions later this platform provides. And lastly, we've found that to have a town hub, we can't just be publishing information, we can't just be selling things to people all the time. We have to give residents the opportunity to feedback. And part of the platform has a survey solution and a issue reporting solution, which we'll see later. So it's that two-way relationship that we're trying to form. It's very much about civic pride. So just to recap, the way we've kind of separated these different challenges out, and this is reflected in the way we have our platform. We have a city login, a town manager login. We have a business portal for all businesses. Then we have an app for residents and visitors. And the problem for cities or towns is that, as we just said, business councils struggle to collect and control their own data. This platform is a solution to that, providing that extra data repository that's useful and tools to be able to leverage that data. But without it, place managers can't make informed decisions or engage with the stakeholders of the town. So not only is it about being able to contact and reach people, but it's also being able to measure. And that's something the platform that we built does. So the solution overall is that we collect and structure that data, and we provide kind of meaningful and bespoke ways in which that filter can be pushed out to different people in a meaningful, relevant way. For businesses, and again, we've done lots of research here into this, is that they feel, if you speak to certainly small independents, as well as some of the bigger stores as well, as they, on a local basis, they don't really have many options to connect with their customers directly. Obviously, they can try and do that themselves, but they only get such a footprint. And if they go through social media, they get charged, and obviously there's the complications around using that as well. So what we find is that in terms of customer acquisition, that they don't have the data, and therefore they can't compete with online retailers, so your Amazons and so forth. They can't acquire business customers at the same rates or retain those relationships. At worst, they go out of business, or they struggle to survive. So for us, we've created a direct channel, which means that we're not just waiting on the user or the resident or visitor to hopefully log into a web page and stumble across something, or perhaps look at even the information published on the app. Once the app is downloaded, we can push information to them through the messaging functions that we have that are highly sophisticated. So, and we'll come on to that later. So what we're about is creating that direct channel without barriers to be able to link businesses directly to people on their doorstep, and not have to go through the likes of Facebook or someone like that, i.e. out to California and back, when actually their customer is literally 200 yards away. And then finally, for residents, again, I'm sure this will echo with everyone, there is no place currently, even if you look at some of the bigger solution providers in terms of events and so on, there's no kind of definitive place at a hyper-local level for you to find the information that you need. It needs to be curated, it needs to be added by local people, and our hub enables businesses and other organisations to collectively publish to one place. Plus we use third-party feeds where relevant. So we are looking to build on all that information in multiple different ways to make sure that we're compiling a really super rich data source that residents can use and believe in and trust ultimately. So without that and without this two-way relationship, we feel if you're not connected to your local area, there's a loss of pride, and ultimately, if anything, what we're all hoping to do is to make places happier and have a greater sense of community. And at the start of that is pride. And so what we've done with Loqiva is a lot of the technologies around personalisation of content. So, for example, sending things to interests based on weather, based on environmental factors. We have built a solution that does that and gives you the right information at the right time. So, as a solution, what we do is we provide a digital town hub. We install this for each location. You can see here one of the deployments for Croydon, and this is called Love South Norwood. So typically you can deploy in a small town. It's still as relevant. If we've got the opportunity to capture up to 20,000 users, it makes sense to be able to deploy. But we're also deploying in larger towns and cities, up to 300,000 currently, potential users. So it's ultimately scalable in the way that we work. Each of those installs are branded, and the council or the localization or whoever the host organization is owns that data. We don't share it with anyone else. It's owned locally. Local residents and businesses sign up to support their town. So yes, if there's offers and events and information and so forth, they will sign up. But ultimately, as we go, we're turning this into a tool for people that links into place facilities and particular aspects of the town we'll come on to, that encourages them to use it as day-to-day. And for local businesses, we get turnkey direct access to thousands of residents to market events, products and services. And for us, there's two parts of that. One is giving them access in the first place, and then there's obviously the opportunity to do commerce. But I think at the moment, one of the biggest solutions that we've looked to solve is how we actually get the right messages to the right people, to then convert them into consumers, through either their existing channels, or latterly we're coming on to now launching our own internal e-commerce stores as well. So that's part of the system too. Okay, so just looking at the app itself, so this is the resident opportunity proposition. So we have a free to download app from Android and iOS. They're natively coded for those techies out there. So it means we have complete control over the operating systems, and therefore we can do quite interesting things through the apps themselves. The apps are driven by the cloud interface and the cloud hub that we have. So all the hard work is done up in the cloud, but the apps deliver the information and messaging. And on this app, there's lots of different functions. You can see here that you have, obviously, this is Crystal Palace, events, offers, maps, and so forth on the kind of main menu. But there's lots of other features and modules on the drop down as well. We'll come and have a look at that. But it's all driven by the APIs, so news, information, events, local business offers, and so on. And it's personalised for each user as well. We'll have a demo of that in a second. Businesses can sign up. There are multiple ways we do this. We work with bids, so we can allow bid businesses to sign up for free, for example, and then charge businesses that don't belong to the bid, so non-levy payers if we wish, or we could give the opportunity for everyone to sign up for free, or we could make everyone subscribers. The kind of model is changeable depending on how we wish to do it, and we do that in association with the client effectively. And once those businesses log in and sign up, then they will see not only a dashboard for them, but they then get all the tools to market. And some of those tools involve things like, well, just not publishing to the app, but we do geofencing and geo alerts. So for those people that don't know what that is, that's the opportunity to set a location in the place, have someone walk through the location, and then a message will go into their app. And actually, even if the app is closed, the person will still see that message. So that could be an offer, it could be some way to entice them into the store. And going back to making it personal, those messages are targeted to interests as well, and certain parameters that the business sets. So not everyone gets everything. It's all about making sure the right people get the right things. So those businesses are declared by postcodes, so we can ring fence that area. And there's a whole set of analytics that are provided to businesses as well. So we can share footfall data, we can share what's happening with other businesses in terms of offers and so on. So it's about creating that environment where businesses feel supported. And in our most recent version, we've added a forum so businesses can talk to each other on the back end, perhaps help each other out, hints and tips, advice, supplier required requests and queries, and so on. For the council, it's a basic communication centre. Communication centre that can be used manually, but also set up and automated. And in fact, most people set this up and, for example, the news feeds are pulled in every day. We query Google for the opening times of businesses daily. We can set automated messages and so forth. And so what this does is enable the council or bid or whoever it might be to interact with residents and businesses in a really kind of effective manner in terms of low overheads, in terms of labour resource and so on. What we get is qualitative and quantitative insights, and we also get, hopefully, if we've done our job right, more complete information than social media providers, and we get that two-way communication channel. So I guess the bigger question is what's different from a digital town hub to maybe a loyalty app or an e-commerce app, and we've seen marketplaces as well that kind of stand alone and do their things too. We're very much about thinking about in a much broader context. We provide digital infrastructure for towns and cities. We're taking it from the most kind of, I guess, fundamental level, which is how do we connect the right information with the right people, be it for purposes of environmental pollution, you want to know about that from a sensor of where you live, through to you want to get to know about an offer from a certain shop where you live or whatever it might be. So it's very much about the broad brushstrokes of what a town, a city needs, and then being able to build upon on top of that. The platform is truly local. It's totally installed and branded for your town alone. So that's really important, and we offer ability to data share, and we'll talk about that in relation to the South London Partnership shortly. The full capability that can be accessed by the app and business and admin users. So everything on the platform itself is totally functional. There's nothing that we have to do behind the scenes. Everything can be managed by you and accessed by you. There's no kind of second level kind of tech work that we have to do to be able to turn anything on or off. And then we have introduced things, as I said, through the learning process we've gone through, things like profanity filtering. It's incredible. It needs to have these kind of protected layers if people are publishing through a community onto a public platform. We've got a very sophisticated notifications inbox, which I'll come on to, deep linking, weather monitoring, just things that, as a town hub you need, rather as opposed to an e-commerce platform. And then there's a full range of tools and things that provide a methodology to launch with you as well. So what we're building overall is a smart digital town hub. We've got that in the cloud with different access points for the kind of core 3 groups of stakeholders. We've then got these location-aware apps with an interface for personal messaging and so forth. We have got integrated into the system infrared and radar footfall counters to measure kind of our own marketing initiatives as well as those of the town council or bid or whoever it might be. And we get that data in real time and distribute that out to businesses. For example, if a business has a business sensor, they get their own data, plus they can see the town data. We've got the payments that's happening at the moment, and at the end of this year, start of next, we have a project to then integrate into physical displays to be able to give those benefits of advertising to local residents for the local cafe. So what we envisage is that a business will be able to go on, upload an offer, and it will go across all parts of the platform, including the digital displays as well as the mobile app and so on. Quick look at the IoT sensors. This gives an example of what we're doing in Croydon. So we have a LoRaWAN, and this is a private LoRaWAN that we build. We have something called data collectors that effectively create that LoRaWAN. They're highly effective between, in terms of radius, 500 to 1,000 meters. So that creates a pretty good spread in terms of coverage fairly quickly. So 4 or 5 of these will cover a small town. And then we have business sensors that go in, and you can see here there's a beam effectively goes across the doorway, which is infrared, and that enables people to be measured in and out and counted in and out. We use infrared here because they can be battery powered, so they're very kind of low overhead in terms of installation. And then we've got the ability then on the analytics side to see the different business information coming in. So we've anonymized these, but you can see that over the time of day, you can start to see what kind of businesses are getting what kind of footfall. And actually, you can start to see cafe versus cafe, what they should be doing and how they can influence their business and so forth. And it's giving that intel to businesses to be able to then adjust their marketing promotion to boost revenue. These are the radar sensors. These have gone into high streets, and we're about to put them into train stations, again, to identify flows of people coming through into the town centre, to see what's affecting what, identifying the issues as we can, and reacting to them in real time. And then just to finish, I want to give you a quick look at our role in terms of smart cities. So this is some of the work that we've been doing with South London Partnership. We have those different hubs deployed with South London Partnership, but this is basically they have built, and we're working with Hitachi, a Power BI view of all the different IoT that's gone into the local area as part of the program. So this is showing our footfall sensor data in black here versus, sorry, in blue here versus the Vivacity sensor data. You can see that those are echoed, in the line graph there. So, there are instances where we're looking to pick out exceptions, we're looking to pick out key events that drive footfall and so forth, and traffic. And it's the South London Partnership, they're measuring other things such as air pollution and so forth as well, to create this kind of global view to help with place planning and so forth. So where we fit in into a smart city setup is that we build the engaged community. We act as the consistent interface across the city, and we enable, for example, if we want to take alerts to from traffic data, wherever it might be, to then be sent across to the user and pushed to that user based upon their preferences and their demographic profile. And what we're trying to do overall, obviously through all of this, is to create behaviour change in a good and positive way, and that can be for e-commerce, that could be for environmental benefits, and so forth. And this is what we're working towards as a, in terms of the digital town hub. So that's the presentation bit I've done. Would you like a quick overview of a quick demo of the app, just so you can see what that looks like, and then probably good to go on to Q&A?
Brilliant. Yeah. That was my first question, actually. Can we see the app?
Yeah. Let's show you.
We have had, it's not as much a question as it, Trudy asks, hi, would you send the slides to this event to my email? But I'll put your details and we'll put the presentation to everybody that's joined, so they have your contact information.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Trudy.
Great. So let me share the screen again. Brilliant. So hopefully everyone can see that. This is just a really good way and to effectively quickly show you all the different screens. I'm sure everyone's used apps in the past, but you'll get a good and quick idea of what we're doing with our app. So we have a number of, when you sign up, there's a splash page, and then there's a number of screens that kind of encourage you to tell you what the app offers. If you then go in, you then can get started, because you obviously sign if you've already got an account. What we ask for are things like your email address, telephone number. This can be configured with the host organization. We can either send those security codes out via SMS or via email based on cost to help you to log in. So it's a one-time PIN. Register accounts. You can have the option to add a profile photo. You don't have to. First name, last name, title, and we take your age as well. Again, just some information to help us kind of profile the data and content. And we take a postcode, so not your actual address, but the postcode, and this is for location-based alerts. One of the use cases is planning alerts with Croydon Council at the moment that we're working on. So it's about to have the postcode, gives us the ability then to send you postcode-related data notifications. And then we ask you to deploy or declare your interests. So select a load of interests. These are configurable too in terms of the back end of the software. You then submit, and then every time you log in, you'll see this hub page. And you'll see that the hub page gives you the weather and temperature. And what we're doing already at the top of the hub page is we are recommending places to go based upon environmental variables. So here, the weather is looking great, why not go to the park? If it's cold, we'll send you to maybe to a cafe. If it's raining, something else. But and we'll never send you to a place that isn't open, because we're taking opening times in real time as well, every day too. So you can see what you're doing at the top of the mobile app here. We've also then got potential to do that on a digital screen. So so you can, again, these recommendations based upon personal requirements or environmental variables is really powerful, and that's at the core of the platform. Underneath that, we've got the ability for an announcement to be published. So that's kind of a theme. Maybe there's a festival on, or it's Valentine's weekend or a day, or there's some kind of shopping experience that needs to go on. That can be set. Got notifications that come in, and these come in from manually sent notifications, which the town manager can use, or the council, and the geo alerts that are automated. So when people walk through certain locations, they get them as well. And other variables too can be triggered with these. We then push different events. There's the news feed that comes in, again, all automated or crowdsourced effectively. We've got transport information that can come in. This is something we have at the moment that gives you access to basically the key transport around you, but that's also now being developed into bus timetables and train timetables for a particular client. Potentially the opportunity to buy those tickets through this platform as well. And then through this, we're able to kind of basically provide you information as a feed based on things that you like. So that hub page is there to always hopefully entice you to look at it, see new content. It's not just down on you to do it, it's all being automated through the feeds. We then have events that we can go into, and you can see that we are looking at that in terms of how far events are away from you. We're constantly trying to entice you and get you to come into town or go to certain locations to look at those events. Nice big pictures. Once you go in, you'll then can add that event to your calendar or your iCal or whatever it is. If you have an iPhone, you can get directions. So we'll give you literally from where you are to the location, obviously some information, ticketing, and so on. So it provides a great repository, a great resource for local businesses that might want to put on a open mic night or whatever it might be. They can put that up and then they can send targeted notifications to support it. We have offers, again, similar idea, listing. Here we have that, there's a drinks offer here. To collect that offer, you go in, again, because we're about encouraging footfall, we have a little kind of ticket effectively that we show to the counter to collect the offer. And that means that we know that the offer's being collected and we can record that in the database. And that's currently without the payments, that's how it works. But if you integrate payments, you can also then obviously buy the offer through the app. So you have that, and businesses upload those through their portal and through the back end. We have a fantastic maps feature. If you please do go on and download one of our apps. So Discover JQ in Birmingham, for example, is a great one to look at. They've really used the maps really well with loads of tours. But we segment businesses. It's basically a highly customized version of Google Maps in terms of icons, the way we collate categories of businesses and so on. And we have that in different views. So you can search businesses, you can search by business types, and so on. And we've got a really nice feature, which is the tools feature. So you can go on, here's a pub crawl, but you can literally then build a tour around there. Each one has a waypoint with information, and you can attach an audio file to each one. So you can create an audio tour. So it could be a heritage tour, could be a shopping tour, could be anything. Again, that's all part of the platform. We then have a whole kind of drop down after that, which look into. Also, we've got an account section with details and various preferences. You can update things here. Go back to this. Go to notifications. I mentioned the inbox. So this is the inbox that you get. You saw that previewed on the hub page. You get the entire list of different notifications. This is showing one notification and then the various options that you could get. So notification will come through. You'd see it on, even if the app's shut, you'd see the notification come through. You look at it, open the app, straight to your inbox, and then you can click through in one click to a survey, look at a document, look at a map item, visit a web page, look at an offer, and so on. So we found that to be super powerful for people. And again, when we think about how we can message for smart cities, that becomes highly relevant too. We have payments, which I won't go into too far, but that's the ability to pay for various things. At the moment, we're connecting those services in, and some of the features we're looking at for councils are things like payments for parking and planning and other things as well. So yes, we will have the e-commerce thread to what we do as standard, but we're also developing these bespoke payments solutions for clients as well. We have, you saw local news. We have a page of again, this kind of smorgasbord of different information, and it's up to you. We could take YouTube, Twitter, and RSS. So it could come from a council website or a big website, or whatever it might be, as well as anywhere you feel is trusted and you want to kind of share that information with people that perhaps don't sign up to those social media channels. Again, with some councils, again, this is an optional thing. We can do bin collections based on data feeds. Just to let people know times and give notifications. The reporting feature is heavily used by bids as well at the minute. So this is the idea of being able to recognise an issue in the street, say something's been vandalised or there's fly tipping going on. You take a photo of the situation, describe it, upload it, and send it in. And that goes to the back end of the solution. Is represented on a map, so each of those photos are geotagged, And that information can either be addressed in the back end of our solution if it's standalone, or it can be linked into a council, a customer workflow effectively too. Finally, we have surveys. So we have quite a sophisticated survey engine on the back end, which allows you to build a wide variety of surveys and lots of different question types and so on. But you can, as you've seen, you can link the surveys to geo-alerts, i.e., let's say a resident walks into a playground, for example, with their kids. Council wishes to ask them, what they'd like to see. They've got a pot of money. They want to put up some new play equipment. They would get alerted to that. And obviously, because they're there, because they've got kids, they're going to be pretty interested to say, well, I'd like a new set of swings. You can ask those kind of questions on this platform. So, and we have that too. And that's it. As the that's the app. Obviously, we don't have time today to go fully into the business portal or the admin portal, but if anyone's interested, we're really happy to demo that because, yeah, it's a large chunk of what we do, and there's all sorts of fantastic analytics and so on there too. Hopefully, that gives you a good overview.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Marcus. That was quite a very complete overview, I feel, of the app. There's loads of different elements in there. I'll just leave it for a second in case anybody has questions. Does anybody have any questions? They can pop them in the chat. I was going to ask you about data on the offers, the analytics, but you just said that you can cover that now. With transport, it's more of an observation than anything else. I know that some companies now are putting like trackers on the buses and stuff like that, so you get real-time data on where the buses are. I mean, I don't know if that's something that you do include, because I think it's quite a new concept. I could be wrong, but maybe it's something that you could be.
Yeah, I mean, we would love to do that. We don't have a client doing that at the minute, but one of you saw bin collections there, for example. Yeah. It's been a little like idea of ours to look at things like be able to have the tracker on the bin vehicle, but also then be able to give an alert at the same time to the user to say, look, the lorry's 20 minutes away. Have you put your bin out?
Wow. Okay.
Right? That kind of efficiency or that kind of link up, we can do through the system. So
the bus trackers, I think a lot of them do use IoT anyway, so it would be quite easy, I feel, for you to integrate that into your platform. So let's. For Croydon now, you worked with the bid and the council.
Working with the council.
Just with the council, okay. So I feel like with platforms like this, if you do have X amount of businesses involved and then enough people know, then it really takes off. But could you describe kind of like the process you do of getting these businesses like on board and maybe getting people on board, or is it just done by the council? You provide...
No, so it's very much collaborative, and so I should explain. So the council is the main client in this regard, but we work with local partner organisations, so that can be a bid.
Right.
So we have in Purley, that's Purley Bid, for example, but we also work with other local organisations too. In South Norwood, there's a regeneration team and so forth. Mm-hmm. So we work with the partner and with the council, and we can give access to other organisations. So multiple organisations, if you wish, can be administrators, right? Like that, makes sense in lots of cases. In terms of the journey, our client right at the start of the journey now, and what we're doing is going through the branding, what it looks like. That's the first bit. What's it going to be called? Hopefully that's easy. Sometimes it's not. And then we implement that. Do the screen kind of visualizations, get it implemented, install the system. Once we've done that, it's very much about then we've got two tracks. One is then a training track. So we train up the local organization or whoever the users are going to be, the administrators. And we have a customer success manager that does that. And at the same time, we then look at different opportunities to go out and market to those people. In the first instance, that's going to be local businesses. And what we find is that there's usually in each town or city a core of highly engaged businesses, some obviously less engaged and so forth, waiting to be convinced, as I think you were referencing. And we work with those businesses in the first instance, get that up and going, upload, make sure they're members, upload other surrounding content and so forth, and then launch the platform. And then what we find is those businesses have been less convinced, start to think, oh, actually, I'm missing out here. So actually will join and so on. And it becomes, yeah, it takes time. I mean, there's no doubt there's an investment to launching a platform like this. It's not, there's no silver bullet in terms of just putting up some technology and hoping it will work. It's something that has to be used and promoted. And actually, one of the things that we've done really successfully with Croydon is work with them to produce town identity films. And it's not something we do in-house as such, but we bring in a team. What it does is very nicely encapsulates the identity of the location, and it gives us a tool to go out and engage with businesses as well. So not only are they going up on the platform, but they're being filmed for the platform and filmed for a video that's promoting the town, and it's part of a a bigger, wider promotional effort.
Brilliant. Yeah. I've got some questions here actually. Trudy's asking, I didn't catch who pays or suggestions on how to fund the setup. Well, I imagine through the local councils or local governments or stuff like that, or bids probably have funding to fund this. I don't think you should talk about actual prices now. Maybe that's something that you.
Yeah, happy to talk about generics. Yeah, the top line. So we are steered by our, how can we say it? So, we're directed by our clients. We group think in a positive way that we have a roadmap and we collectively input into the roadmap. And if one thing makes sense for one client, it's probably going to make sense for others. So we put it on that roadmap, and we either then decide to develop that at a certain point in time based on priority, and that's a feature that becomes available to everyone. Or if a client has a specific, very much, it's only going to be delivered for their council or area, it might be an integration with a certain system or whatever it might be, then that's then funded by that client. So that's how that works. So yeah, two routes really. We're very open to suggestions, and we will include it into roadmaps, or if it's something really specific, yeah, you need to pay for it.
John Jones is asking, how is it financed, managed? Is it a monthly payment or one-off creation fee? Well, I don't know if you want to discuss, it's paid in an annual fee, if I can remember, yeah?
Yeah, so we have effectively a multi-year, it's an annual as a minimum agreement, just because it takes that long time, and that time to actually get it up and running, get it, it takes anywhere between 6 to 10 weeks to launch the platform, depending on how quickly you wish to do it. But to get the benefits, to show the results, you need a year minimum to be able to see that, and therefore, we suggest a year. In terms of the actual fees themselves, whether they need to be paid monthly, yes, we can accept monthly payments, or we can accept annual payments. It's yeah.
And he's also asking who managed the information from day to day, month to month. Well, I imagine you pushed that on.
Sorry, which one was that? Sorry, could you repeat that?
Who manages the information? Well, if do you with new information, obviously new events or stuff like that, it's the council or the bid or whoever you've kind of worked with who manages that.
That's right. So you have, if we were to do a demo of the administrator or the town manager's portal, you would see a global view of all the business added information. So the first instance is obviously to encourage people to upload themselves and for them to be incentivized to upload themselves. So events and so forth. I should mention with events, we have an automated e-newsletter that goes out as well to all the app users and so on. So it's quite visible as to what the platform's doing. So people are encouraged to sign up and do events for businesses. And then, but the administrator ultimately has, the global view, and they might need to steer people in the right direction, add extra information if they need, and so on. But as I've mentioned, there are lots of feeds doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
Okay, brilliant. Isabel, do you have any examples of the town identity films, please?
Sure. If you go to our website, so loqiva.com, you'll find a films section.
All this will be included. We'll put it all in an email for anybody who wants to learn a bit more. One more question from my side would be, we've talked a lot about IoT sensors. If you were maybe approaching a council or a bid, would you kind of give recommendations maybe on IoT sensors that could be used, or would you just kind of assess what they already have?
So, obviously most councils have some form of IoT program. And there are lots of different providers, and the right provider is going to be relevant to the kind of needs of the area. What we're saying is we've got a turnkey solution, so the sensors that we have and so on we can put in, but we're agnostic. So if you already have sensors in place, like footfall, or you wish to incorporate air pollution and so on, then we'll pull that information in from the feeds available. So that's it. So there's no, in terms of what councils are using, will be led by the councils, okay. but we're here to help as well.
Okay, brilliant. Emily, she put in the chat, sorry, I forgot to mention that Emily put a message to say welcome as well. Emily works with Marcus, and she's just put her email there and yours, but I'll send out an email anyway with a bit more information on the slides for everybody who's joined us today. Well, if there's no more questions, Trudy's put her email in, we'll leave that. Yeah, if there's no more questions, I mean, thank you so much, Marcus, for joining me today. I have recorded this and I'm possibly going to put it on YouTube. I hope that's okay with you and everybody else in the chat. You can only see, if you're in the chat, you can only see a name. But if you do have a big problem with that, give me an email. We probably have to not do it, but nobody really says anything usually. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Great to meet you.
Okay, brilliant. Bye. Thanks everyone for joining us as well.
Thanks now. Bye-bye.